Hi, welcome to part 2 of how I became a happily single woman. If you did not catch part 1, go ahead and follow this comment so you can get caught up. Let's dive in. Number 6, I answered the question, what if I never meet the right person? There was a point in time in my life where if a random angel or fairy-like being came to me and said, hey, Jules, you're never going to get married or be in a relationship ever again, I probably would have had a nervous breakdown. I probably would have spent my time wandering the earth just begging and settling for anyone, trying to beg someone to be in a relationship with me. I was just that desperate for a relationship. Sorry, I cut myself off there, but I had to answer the question, what if I never get into another relationship again? And I'm just going to go ahead and be honest with you. It's very, a very slight chance that this could happen. But there are people on this planet who have either never been in a relationship, or maybe they were once married or in a relationship and they've never had another relationship again. I remember watching a documentary years ago, and there's a literal club of women who have never had a relationship, or maybe they used to have one years ago and they have never had it, and they're like a bunch of older ladies in their 70s and 80s. So you have to answer that question, and don't bullshit me with, I'll just do this and I'll live a great life. No, be for real, okay? It's me you're talking to, all right? If a lot of women are honest, they would spend the rest of their lives just being miserable. And that's a sad way to live, especially with people around the world who have lost their lives tragically, and they will never be given the opportunity to live. So you're going to tell me because you don't have a man, you're going to spend the rest of your life being miserable. That sounds a bit insane considering what we know to be true that's going on in the world right now. There are plenty of people who, if we can bring them back to life, they would gladly trade places with you and do all the things that they never got to do before they were taken off of this planet. So if you were to never again, or to never at all, be a wife or a girlfriend or a mom, how would you feel your existence? And if you would live it miserably, I feel sorry for you. Number 7, I had to learn the truth about a lot of marriages and relationships. They were not the romantic comedies in the movies and the TV shows. They're not all happy. I think once you dive deep into it, I think only about 30% of marriages are actually happy ones. And you might think, well, that's actually a big number. Well, if you took a trip and the pilot said there's a 30% chance we might make it to the destination, you probably would not get on that flight, would you? Just think about how hard it is for you to change, and when you get in your moods and your little neuroses, and then you have to add another person onto that, and you're growing and changing and they're growing and changing, and that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to grow in the right direction. Sometimes people grow apart, and it's really sad to me seeing people spend their whole life just like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole and make their relationship work, and they brag about all the years that they hated each other and they were, I just miserable, can't do it. And thinking about all the people who settled because of family pressure, world pressure for women to get married. They just felt like they had to do it for whatever reason or another. There really are that many people in happy relationships. I know people who are in happy relationships and marriages, but this is very sad, but they're the exception to the rule. It's not normal to have a happy marriage. And once I learned that truth, it kind of toned things down a bit for me, that we're all not going to be riding off into the sunset. Common sense is a 50-50 chance that you might get divorced. That shouldn't be a shocker to anyone. But even the 50% of people who stay married, only, about a quarter or so of those people are actually happy, because people stay together for the kids, they stay together for financial reasons, for whatever, they're scared to leave, whatever the case may be. So once I came to grips with the fact that it's not all fairy tales and roses, and you're literally merging your hard-headed ass life with somebody else's hard-headed ass life, and that might not go easily for you. It kind of made me tone down, on the fairy tale idea of romance. Yes, do I believe it exists? Sure. I think there are some great above and beyond, above average men out there who actually love their wives and girlfriends, who are actually great people. But again, unfortunately, that is not the norm. The factory default setting, the reality for most women in heterosexual relationships and marriages, is that you're not going to be treated well. And at the very least, it's going to be an average situation where it's not great and it's not bad and you're just both existing. Number 8, I'm willing to be single for the rest of my life, and I will not settle. You can call me picky, you can call me superficial, you can say whatever you want to say about me. But if I am to be in another relationship again, it's going to be a great one, because I just don't have the time and energy to be trying to force opposite ends of a magnet to come together to do the work, the tireless work that I hear a lot of married people talk about that they've gone through for years. I don't have it in me anymore. I think, communication is key, and if both parties are willing to try, sure, that's great. But after a while, it's kind of like, how long do we beat this dead horse? What are we doing? And I'm at the point in my life where I will pack all my shit up and get the fuck on down the road. I don't have years of my life to waste forcing something to work. That's just not going to work. So I would rather take the time to get to know someone great that comes along, to see how things go. But I'm not going to settle, because it took a lot of work for me to get to this point, for me to throw it all away just because I think some guy is cute, or just because I'm just tired of being alone. So that's why these other factors are important, because I like being alone. So they are competing with this version of me. And that's a hard competition. Number 9, I learned how heavily the world influences women to get into relationships and to get married. It's in marketing, it's in movies, it's in television shows. All songs on the radio are about love. It's all about getting married and babies. The wedding industry is probably $1 billion industry. I'm guessing it's all around us to be in love and to be coupled up with someone. And once I realized that they want women to be married to a man, to support that man and abandon themselves. Once I learned all that shit about patriarchy, that also was a key part in kind of breaking down this whole idea of marriage being this whole fairy tale thing, and realizing that for the most part it's a part of the patriarchal plan. This American dream, so to speak, of what the perfect family is supposed to be and look like, and the role of a woman within that family. Number 10, I started spoiling myself and treating myself the way I've always wanted a man to treat me. I lavish myself with gifts. I take time in the shower to do exfoliants and oils and all the things. I have like 3 different moisturizers that I use when I get out of the shower. If I am sick, I will take the time to make my favorite meals. If I'm hungry, I'll take the time to make a meal for myself. Nobody treats me better than I treat myself. And that's just going back to the other point I made. Men are going to be in competition with how I treat me, because right now I'm winning the game. Number 11, I realized the advantages. I'm going to scoot this down. I realized the advantages of being single. I actually have more money as a single person. Surprise, surprise, dual incomes does not always mean more money, because now there's 2 people bringing bills and using the lights and eating the food. So it's, 2 times the expenses, really. I answer to no one. It's just me. I mean, there's a plethora of things that are advantages to being single, and I don't think that people talk about it enough, and that's what my channel is here for, or my page if this is TikTok or YouTube. I'll post it to both. Hope you enjoy the list.